Kyubey is a hateable little brat, but are they evil? What is evil? In this video, I will be trying to act as Kyubey's defense lawyer for the sake of argument. I will be assuming utilitarian ethics to achieve this goal, because I am a utilitarian, but some of the philosophy is applicable to other ethical systems. I will be using the ones who walk away from Omelas as an analogy, as well as various other examples of scapegoating. Okay, so for those who haven't read it, The Ones Who Walk Away from Omelas is a story which asks us to imagine a perfect city, which can only exist if a child is locked underneath it in immeasurable agony, and then asks, would you remain in this city or would you leave? This is actually an excellent analogy to the world Madoka presents. If it wasn't for incubators, humanity would still be in caves, and if they ever left, society would eventually collapse. This begs the question, is this an apt analogy? Humanity doesn't know about the incubators, and as a result, they can't really leave Omelas. The magical girls, however, kind of can. If they learn the truth, which Madoka does, they can refuse Kyubey's contract, refusing to suffer and leaving the burden to someone else. It's also worth noting that in the story of Omelas, trying to save the child is not mentioned, but that's basically what Homura does. It's shown that if Madoka becomes a magical girl, she will produce enough energy when she becomes a witch to satisfy the incubators. This would kill all of humanity, but her ability to wish is so great she could arguably prevent this. We also have to ask, what would humanity do if they discovered magical girls? Would they ban the practice? I really doubt it. Their society would collapse if they aren't all eaten by witches first. I bet they would legally force the most powerful girls to become magical girls, like humanity locked the child in the basement of Omelas. We can compare this to humans sacrificing virgins to the sun god, except the sun god is real and it's a pink and white cat. If the sun god will kill you all for not doing something, what choice do you have? But here's the thing, humanity isn't the only one in Omelas. Kyubey is also there. If he does not collect energy, his society will collapse. He compares it to animal farming, but that's a terrible analogy, because animal farming is thermodynamically inefficient. It would be easier on the planet if we were all vegan. Humanity would have more resources if we were all vegan. If Kyubey didn't farm humans, the universe would end. There are several objections you could make to this. You could argue that Kyubey ought to walk away, but they would suffer immensely for this for no reason. Firstly, they would be instantly replaced as incubator. Secondly, there would be questions. It's said that in incubator society, emotions are seen as a rare mental disorder. This is interesting because what is an emotion? Kyubey arguably expresses some, such as curiosity and even fear. If Kyubey felt empathy for humans and revealed it, how would he be treated? How do we treat the mentally ill? Very poorly. But worse, how do incubators treat people with emotions? They have them killed for energy if their karmic potential is high enough. And I think we can assume Kyubey's karmic potential is rather high, given the effect they have on the world. This is all wild speculation, of course, but so is the fate of those who leave Omelas. Did they live? Did they die out in the cold? We don't know, as we don't know what will happen to Kyubey. If we can say via utilitarian ethics that staying in Omelas isn't inherently evil, then Kyubey could arguably also be justified. I ask you, what ought Kyubey do differently? You can critique them for lying to teenage girls, but what would you have them do? Be honest and less efficient? If Kyubey told the truth, he could convince less girls, which would require him to reveal himself to girls with less karmic potential, which would give less energy, meaning more people would have to die. That does not sound justifiable under utilitarian ethics. Maybe you could have him be honest with the entire planet and see what they would do. I also don't think this works. Either you have humanity force girls to die, which seems even less ethical, or you have girls who would otherwise want to become magical girls choose not to, due to knowing the truth, again leading to a larger total number of people having to die. You could argue it would be better if Kyubey went after adults, but is that a utilitarian intuition? Where in utilitarianism does it say it's better for adults to die than children? And again, teenage girls were chosen due to their emotional volatility. So if Kyubey chose adults, they would be less likely to become witches, forcing him to make more magical girls, forcing more people to suffer. But that being said, there are counter-arguments you can make here. I have deliberately left them as an exercise, because philosophy is about thinking, and I want you to think for yourself for a little. You could argue for anarcho-primitivism, you could argue for pro-mortalism, in which we would be better off if entropy ended the universe. You could argue Kyubey and his species have no moral worth, though that would only hurt some of my arguments. You could even reject utilitarianism and argue from a deontological, virtue ethical, or even divine command perspective. But then again, if the creator of humans human society has the right to do what they wish with it via divine command theory, I have a cat to introduce you to.